When the Rooster Crows by Keith Young. Chapter 1. The Sentinel of Dawn. The pre-dawn chill clung stubbornly to the Vermont hills, settling into the dew-kissed grass like a thin veil of glassy frost. The farm still slept, wrapped in the stillness of dreams. Only the faint creak of wood, the low groan of the barn beams adjusting in the cold, and the distant murmur of crickets suggested the world was alive at all. High above it all, perched upon the weathered cupola of the barn, Quinn stood watch. He was no ordinary rooster. His feathers gleamed deep rust red, like embers banked under ash, and his tall comb caught what little moonlight still lingered, a crown against the paling sky. Quinn's posture was statuesque, every movement deliberate. While the other birds of the yard dozed, content in their ignorance, Quinn scanned his dominion like a sentry guarding a fortress. Usually, his keen eyes were reserved for the details of barnyard politics, the endless maneuverings of the hens, the tug-of-war for worms, the subtle shifting of alliances in the pecking order. But not this morning. This morning, his gaze was fixed far beyond the orchard, to the eastern tree line where an unnatural glow pulsed like a second, hellish sunrise. It was fire. Not a small blaze, but something larger, hungrier. The horizon itself seemed to tremble with it. Quinn flared his wings, feathers whispering against the wind. He inhaled deeply. Beneath the expected scent of charred pine came something harsher, acrid chemical like melted plastic. His instincts bristled. Whatever burned out there was not only wild, but dangerous. He let out a crow, sharp, staccato, nothing like the melodious morning calls that usually roused the farm. This was no greeting to the dawn. This was a warning. Inside the farmhouse, nestled among the orchards, the family remained lost in their dreams. Daniel, broad-shouldered and weathered by years of toil, dreamed of golden fields and strong harvests. Amanda, steady and gentle, dreamed of her children's laughter echoing through years yet to come. Timothy, their eldest, dreamed of distant worlds of science and discovery. And Gail, sweet Gail, only dreamed of her pony, Starlight, galloping across endless fields under a sky of forever blue. But Quinn crowed again and again, each note edged with urgency. His cry pierced the veil of dreams like a knife. Timothy stirred first, always the light sleeper. He blinked awake, frowning at the strange cadence in the rooster's call. Something felt wrong. Then the smell reached him, faint at first, then sharper, stinging his nostrils. He rushed to the window and pulled aside the curtain. His heart thudded in his chest. The horizon was aflame. He leapt from bed, shouting for his family, words tumbling over themselves in panic. His voice was muffled by the thick walls of the old farmhouse, but Quinn did not wait for them to respond. With a powerful beat of his wings, he launched from the cupola, swooping low, and landed with a thud against the farmhouse window. He crowed again, frantic now, scratching at the glass with desperate claws. Amanda's eyes flickered open. She heard him. No, felt him, the urgency in his tone. She slipped from bed and padded to the window. One glance was enough. The flames were no longer distant. They were crawling through the woods, devouring dry leaves and underbrush, driven onward by a wind that had turned suddenly cruel. Her breath caught, but Amanda was not a woman who lingered in fear. Maternal instinct surged through her. She shook Daniel awake, her voice firm despite the tremor in her chest. Within moments, the farmhouse roared with motion, boots stomping, drawers pulled open, children's voices thick with confusion. Gail clung sleepily to her stuffed pony until Daniel scooped her into his arms, pressing her small face against his chest. Amanda gathered photographs, documents, anything irreplaceable she could reach in the chaos. Timothy, wide-eyed but resolute, dashed between rooms, helping his mother. But even as they scrambled, the inferno grew. The driveway, their only clear escape, was fast becoming a death trap, blocked by trees that were now torches themselves. The fire hissed and crackled, an approaching beast with 100 fiery tongues. Quinn saw what they could not. He had long noticed the old orchard path, half swallowed by weeds and forgotten by the family. It led to a narrow back road, one that curved away from the main woods. In time past, he had wandered there in secret, memorizing every bend and hedge. Now it was the only hope. With a sudden burst of flight, he landed on Timothy's shoulder. The boy gasped, startled. Quinn had never perched on him before. But the rooster wasn't still. He tugged gently at Timothy's sleeve, then turned his head, beak pointing insistently toward the orchard. His eyes gleamed with clarity, with purpose. Timothy understood. "Dad!" he cried, pointing. "The orchard path. Follow Quinn." Gail's gaze flicked from his son to the rooster, to the overgrown trail. For a moment, he hesitated. Could a bird know better than him? Then the roar of collapsing timbers from the barn erased his doubt. With a grim nod, he adjusted Gail in his arms and led the way. They plunged into the orchard, branches whipping at their clothes, thorns tugging at Amanda's sleeves. Quinn darted ahead, crowing rhythmically, a beacon in the smoke. Every time they faltered, he circled back, wings flapping encouragement. At last, they stumbled out onto the back road, coughing, eyes streaming with tears. Behind them, the fire leapt from treetop to treetop, a wave of orange and black consuming all they had built. The farmhouse, their safe haven, was already lost. Amanda clutched Timothy's hand. Daniel held Gail tighter. For a moment, the family stood there together, watching their home burn. Loss pressed on them like a weight, but alongside it was life, precious and unbroken. And at their feet, Quinn stood tall, feathers ruffled but eyes bright, the sentinel of dawn who would save them all. Sirens wailed in the distance, but Quinn did not move. He raised his head, crowed once more, and in that cry was not alarm, but triumph. From that day on, the Daniels family often said they had been saved by a rooster. But in the hush of early mornings, when dawn spread gold across the hills, Amanda whispered a different truth. They had been saved by their sentinel of dawn.